Kuki-Zo sonte chunnu aka along dam sa chupam min tanaw hong tawin.
Thadou Literature Society chairman killed in Assam, unraveling the controversy behind his death. Karbi Anglong district in Assam woke up to chilling news when reports emerged from Manja village that Nekum Jomhao, chairman of the Thadou Literature Society in Assam, was brutally killed under disturbing circumstances. Eyewitness accounts and local reporting suggest that Jomhao was attacked, beaten, mutilated and drowned in a nearby river. His body, at the time of writing, remains unrecovered, adding to the anguish of family members and community leaders. Jomhao was not merely a literary figure but had also gained attention earlier in August when he appeared as a delegate of the Thadou Inpi Manipur (TIM) at a meeting in Imphal. The gathering was organized at Classic Grande, where members of TIM signed what they described as a peace understanding with representatives of certain Meitei civil society organizations. This development, while initially portrayed as a symbolic step toward reconciliation in the ongoing ethnic conflict between Kukis and Meiteis in Manipur, immediately drew sharp criticism from Kuki communities across India and abroad. Civil society groups in Assam and Manipur have condemned the killing of Jomhao, calling it barbaric and inhuman, while demanding urgent investigation. Yet, what makes his death more than just a criminal case is the political and ethnic context surrounding his activities in Manipur and the broader debates around the legitimacy of the so-called peace agreement TIM sought to champion. The controversial Classic Hotel meeting in Imphal, according to media coverage and statements from various Kuki civil society groups, the peace agreement between TIM and certain Meitei organizations was held at Classic Grande Hotel in Imphal earlier this month. The meeting, which was projected as a dialogue for reconciliation, was presented by TIM as an initiative of the Thadou community. However, the backlash that followed highlighted deep divisions among the Kukis, particularly regarding the authority and representativeness of TIM in such high-stakes negotiations. Press releases from Kuki civil society organizations, including the Thadou Students Association, TSA, were quick to distance themselves from the move. TSA clarified in its official statement, as reported by the Sangai Express and other outlets, that TIM's actions did not have the backing of the wider Thadou or Kuki populace. The student body described the agreement as misleading and warned that it misrepresented the sentiment of Thadous and Kukis, who continue to face existential threats in the ongoing conflict. The TSA further stressed that TIM was a self-styled body that had lost credibility over the years. In their view, TIM had no authority to sign any understanding that directly affected the lives, lands, and survival of the Kuki-Zo people. This sentiment was echoed by other Kuki civil society organizations in Manipur who saw the peace initiative not as reconciliation but as an insult to those who have been displaced, attacked, and targeted since violence erupted in May 2023, why Kuki civil society opposed TIM's initiative. Statements from the Kuki Inpi Manipur, KIM, and the Kuki Students Organization, KSO, widely reported in Manipur-based media, also expressed skepticism toward TIM's move. They argued that peace building cannot be carried out in isolation or behind closed doors, particularly without consultation with the victims of violence. For the Kukis, the conflict in Manipur is not a misunderstanding that can be ironed out by dialogue alone, but a matter of survival and justice. Houses were burnt, villages emptied, churches desecrated, and hundreds killed or displaced. International human rights reports, including the People's Union for Civil Liberties (PUCL) documentation, noted systematic targeting of the Kuki population. Against this backdrop, an initiative by TIM to engage in dialogue with Meitei organizations was seen by many Kukis as a betrayal. This criticism reached diaspora communities as well. Kuki organizations in Delhi, Bengaluru, and abroad, particularly in the US and Europe, released statements condemning TIM's role in the Imphal meeting. Their argument was clear. Reconciliation must come from a collective decision of the Kuki-Zo people, not through unilateral deals by individuals or bodies with questionable authority. Reactions to Jomhao's role. It is in this context that Jomhao's presence as a delegate of TIM at the Imphal meeting became a matter of controversy. While he was known primarily for his role in promoting Thadou literature in Assam, His involvement in Tim's activities tied him to the wider debate on legitimacy and representation. Reports indicate that his alignment with Tim may have created tensions within his own community. Some viewed his participation as a well-intentioned attempt to bring peace, while others saw it as a direct affront to the suffering of the Kukis. The brutal nature of his killing in Assam has led to speculation that his death may be linked not merely to local rivalries but to the fallout of Manipur's ethnic conflict. However, until the authorities establish clear facts, such claims remain speculative. The police have so far described the attackers only as unknown persons, and investigations are ongoing. The question of representation: who speaks for the Thadous? The larger controversy centers on the question of who truly represents the Thadou community. Tim, which claimed to act in the name of Thadous, has faced repeated accusations of misrepresentation. The Thadou Students Association, TSA, in its press releases carried by regional outlets like Eyewitnesses and Imphal Free Press, clarified that Tim's decisions cannot be equated with the collective voice of the Thadou people. According to TSA, the Thadou community, like other Kuki-Zo groups, has suffered immense loss in the current crisis. Many Thadou villages were attacked, forcing families to flee. TSA insisted that any negotiation or dialogue must be based on consensus, involving all stakeholders and rooted in justice for the victims. Without this, any agreement risks being dismissed as illegitimate and even harmful. A brief history of Tim and its controversies. The controversy around Tim is not new. Over the years, Tim has attempted to position itself as the apex body of the Thadou community. However, many student groups, intellectuals, and activists have argued that its credibility has eroded due to political opportunism. The recent Classic Grande meeting with Meitei organizations has brought back memories of previous attempts by Tim to hold dialogues that did not resonate with the larger Kuki-Zo sentiment. The recurring criticism has been that Tim engages in deals or negotiations without transparency or wider consultation, thereby undermining the collective cause of the Kukis. This history of disputed authority is what fueled the strong condemnation of Jomhao's participation in the Imphal peace meeting. For many, it was yet another example of individuals being used to create an illusion of reconciliation while the ground realities remain unchanged. Linking the killing to Manipur's conflict. While the investigation into Jomhao's killing in Assam continues, observers cannot ignore the timing and political backdrop of his death. His presence at the Tim meeting in Imphal, his association with an organization widely criticized by Kuki groups, and the divisive debates it sparked have all become part of the narrative. Whether his killing was a direct consequence of his role in Tim or whether it stemmed from unrelated local disputes is still unclear. However, the symbolism of his death at a time when ethnic violence continues to polarize, Manipur has become deeply significant. It underscores how fragile the situation remains and how attempts at reconciliation, if not handled inclusively, can trigger more division rather than healing. The historical backdrop. Why such killings happen? The roots of the Manipur conflict go back decades. The Kuki-Meitei divide has been fueled by issues of land, identity, and political power. Historical memories of violence, such as the Kuki genocide of the 1990s by NSCN-IM militants, the recurring clashes over village boundaries, and the recent attacks since May 2023 continue to shape perceptions on both sides. For the Kukis, the ongoing violence is viewed as an existential crisis. Many interpret unilateral peace moves by bodies like Tim not as reconciliation but as erasure of their suffering. The killing of a figure like Jomhao, therefore, cannot be seen in isolation. It is entwined with a history where individuals perceived as betraying community interests often face violent retribution. The broader lesson is that peace in Manipur cannot come through selective dialogue or symbolic agreements. It requires a comprehensive process that acknowledges historical wrongs, addresses the grievances of the displaced, and ensures justice for victims. Without this, initiatives like the Tim Meitei meeting in Imphal risk being dismissed as hollow and even dangerous. Conclusion: the death of Nekum Juma in Karbi Anglong is both a tragedy and a warning. It exposes the fragility of peace initiatives that lack legitimacy and consensus. It highlights the dangers faced by individuals caught in the crossfire of ethnic politics. And it reminds us that the Manipur conflict is not just about the present crisis, but also about long histories of mistrust, violence, and contested representation. As investigations continue, one thing is certain: His killing cannot be separated from the larger political storm surrounding the TIM, the Classic Grande meeting, and the deep fractures within the Kuki-Zo community itself. Disclaimer from Zalengam Media. This article is based on reports from regional and national media outlets, as well as press releases issued by civil society organizations such as the